Hey vinyl community, it's Mazzy here on a beautiful, it's gonna be 82 degrees here in Seattle, 82. A lot of people don't understand or didn't know that Seattle has amazing hot summers. I've been here 5 years now, every summer, 80s and 90s, much more than my San Francisco. But I'm gonna do a little video of poster art. And again, you know I keep going back to San Francisco, it's my town. So I'm gonna show you some books and posters. And let's have a little music here. Don't know if I'll have a copyright police, so I think I'm gonna do some Ravi Shankar. Not that he's immune from it, but this is from a collaboration CD set, Ravi Shankar, George Harrison collaborations, music festival, Ravi Shankar and Family and Friends, and Chants of India, produced by George Harrison. Beautiful, beautiful set. But I think what I'll do, it's always hard to do it with one hand. I know it's a vinyl community, but I'm down in my office here because it's where my artwork is. Put on the old CD thing. Just have a basic Rotel and a Denon, but I got some vintage JBL L100s that some audiophiles actually love to hate, as they say. But those of us in my generation loved these in the 70s. So, there you go. And maybe I'm contributing to the bullshit of people associating drugs and psychedelic with Indian music. One moment. Okay. So I have a pretty, I don't have a big poster collection of San Francisco and the sort of the Avalon, the Fillmore West, also the Denver Family Dog. But I have a lot of the handbills because when I was a kid, I would call up and put my name on the list and get every week Fillmore posters sent to me, the little handbills, as well as Avalon, and then I would pick them up at stores because stores would sort of give them away as promos for the upcoming concerts. This is a book, one of my favorite books. I have a couple of books on the subject, but The Art of the Fillmore. And I'm not gonna go through every single handbill I have, but I'm gonna just show you some great images. And the artwork, and not in any particular order, are, you've probably heard a handful of these, but not all of them. Wes Wilson, Bonnie McLean, Stanley Mouse, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of because of the Grateful Dead, and Alton Kelly, Rick Riffrin, you know his lettering. Lee Conklin, Greg Irons, Randy Tootin, David Byrd, David Singer, and Norman Orr. But this is a fabulous book. That's Bill Graham in his office when it was on 11th Street, South of Market in San Francisco, before they had a tragic fire. Or actually, I'm sorry, this is probably at the Fillmore. This is the office at the Fillmore, upstairs. Fillmore West. Yeah, at the Fillmore. The original Fillmore is back to where it was. It's on the corner of Geary and Fillmore in San Francisco. And then it moved and became the Fillmore West on Market and South Van Ness. And the Avalon was at Sutter Street. And when I was growing up, after that, it was a movie theater called the Regency 2 Theater. But anyway, this is a great book, as is this. And this is not just about the Fillmore. You can get a small copy. There's a small version of this. This is Aberville Press, but oral history of the art of rock. So it's not limited just to the San Francisco scene and those Fillmore posters, but it has quite a bit of, great artwork of all the series of things. And those of you rock followers know a lot of this stuff. But a gorgeous, gorgeous book. And then before I get into the posters, two more things, just because, I did a video on Jim Marshall, photographer Jim Marshall died about 10 years ago. And his estate is putting out a series of books. This is co-written by by Joel Selvin, who was the rock critic for the San Francisco Chronicle for years, and actually recently he wrote the Altamont book, and and also another book about the Grateful Dead. Jorma Kakkonen from the Airplane wrote the introduction, but this is Jim Marshall's photographs from the Haight during the heyday of the Haight-Ashbury. Obviously, that's not the Haight, but he covers San Francisco at the time, and as you all know, the Beatles did their very final performance in August 29th, 1966 at Candlestick Park. So it covers that, then it goes into the story of the Haight. But Jim Marshall is an amazing photographer. I've already spoken about him, so seek out my album cover video of Jim Marshall. I think I told stories of Jim Marshall. I knew him for about 20 years. But great book. Jimi Hendrix played the panhandle too. And I was born in the Haight, so there you go. You can see my love for it. This is another cool book, the San Francisco Oracle. San Francisco Oracle was the underground newspaper at the time that they'd, when tour buses would drive down Haight Street in '67, even though it kind of started in '66, quote, hippies would be selling the Oracle. And then the other paper across the bay was the Berkeley Barb. And these are reproductions of most of the newspapers. I got this from the publisher about 15 years ago. It's a bound volume of all the oracles, but great artwork, you know. You get the idea. I think this one's signed. Yeah, Alan Cohen was the publisher, and he signed it to me there. Anyway, so this is my mini poster collection. These are my mini handbills, Fillmore handbills, and as you can probably see on some of the early ones, and we'll get in, let's see. These were mounted in a book, so at some point I actually had to kind of take them off the books. Some of the paper from the mounting book got, but see, address, there you go. They were actually mailed to me, but they're not in total order, but it's the Avalon, the Fillmore. Just want to give you a little run through. So I'll just do that and go through them and won't say much. I actually have them in these like plastic card sleeves, so they're very well intact. They're not mounted. Can you imagine just growing up as a kid, 13, 14, 15 years old, and seeing this kind of artwork and hearing this music? I only went to the Fillmore West once. I was on the tail edge of Young, and I saw the, was it the Stan Kenton Big Band open up for the Who performing Tommy in 1969 for the first time. But starting, you know, just after that, I mean, I just see the Dead in the Park, saw Big Brother in the Park with Janis Joplin, Golden Gate Park, and the Hall of Flowers. Friends and Relations, The Great Highway, saw the Youngbloods, Dead many times, and then especially Winterland. Winterland was a place that my buddies and I went all through the 70s, and but a lot of you know these. Like, look at these bills from England: Pink Floyd, Lee Michaels, Clear Light. I should read these off, some of these. The Byrds, Loading Zone, Spiritual Band, Big Brother and the Holding Company, Iron Butterfly, Booker T and the MGs. You know, Cream, look at that, Cream, Big Black, Loading Zone. That's at Fillmore and the Winterland. So Bill Graham had some pretty amazing sets. He'd mix up things. Oh, The Who, Cannonball Adderley. Can you imagine seeing The Who and Cannonball Adderley on one bill? And The Vagrants. I don't think I've ever heard The Vagrants. I remember their names around a lot. Jefferson Airplane, Grateful Dead, and Mongo Santa Maria. Bill Graham really liked to put in jazz and Latin music a lot with, and it was great about it. The audience was open to everything, unlike today, where they're, you know, looking on their phones and doing anything else but paying attention to music. Cream, James Cotton Band, Jefferson Airplane, A.B. Sky. Now, Chet Helms was sort of his competitor that owned the Avalon, or booked the Avalon, but didn't have the same kind of, excuse the expression, Jewish chutzpah business sense. So Bill Graham succeeded where, in the end, Chet Helms did not. Here's the Fillmore Summer Series, 3-day programs like The Foundations and Crazy World of Arthur Brown for 3 nights. Chambers Brothers and Arthur Brown, and It's a Beautiful Day. Sly and the Family Stone and the Quicksilver Messengers. Albert King and the Loading Zone. Canned Heat, 10 Years After, and Dan Hicks and his Hot Licks. Ike and Tina Turner and Blue Cheer. Steppenwolf and It's a Beautiful Day. I mean, Big Brother and Richie Havens. Moby Grape, Jeff Beck. The Herd and James Cotton. Santana, Butterfield Blues Band. Electric Flag, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I mean, that's some big balls there, right? Chuck Berry and the Steve Miller Band. Big Brother, Albert King. Steppenwolf. I'm looking at Grateful Dead and the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. And the Sons of Champlin. Oh, man. I'm getting wet just thinking about these things, these shows. Again, I was maybe 3 years too young to see, 2 years too young to see some of them, but I did made up time at Winterland. God. The Doors, Chuck Berry. Buffalo Springfield, Moby Grape, Hourglass. Hourglass, wasn't that the Allman Brothers before the Allman Brothers? Am I right there? Come on, let me know. You know, it almost doesn't matter if these are upside down or not, right? Fillmore, Albert King, Loading Zone, 10 Years After, Canned Heat. The Family Dog Presents, they had a bunch of shows. Now this is the Avalon West, but they also had the Family Dog for a while in Denver. But I never went to Denver at that time to see those shows. So if anyone went and saw the Family Dog, went to the Family Dog venue in Denver in the late 60s, I'd love to know more about it. There are other venues in San Francisco that are around, but these, you know, there was the Matrix, which was a club down on Fillmore Street below Union, that originally was owned by Marty Ballin of the Airplane. And those of you who collect, you know, like record store day releases and some of these CD boxes, recently came out from 66, 67, some live shows of the Velvet Underground, which is really great, actually. Check that out. And the Doors, it's a tiny club. In fact, I just walked by it. I was in San Francisco last week, and I walked by the building, and it reopened about 8 years ago as the Matrix. It's kind of a smooth lounge. Nothing to do with the original, you know, look of it or anything. Now it's a loungy, kind of cool, modernist thing. Kind of silly looking, but it's called the White Rabbit for obvious reasons. Grace Slick and the Great Society played there as well. The Youngbloods. And again, some you can't even read, the Charlatans. Here's Iron Butterfly again. Look at that. Beautiful, gorgeous. I mean, I kind of wish I had the full-size posters. I think I have 4 or 5. That's it. The problem is, where do you put them? You know, I mean, if you go to the Fillmore in San Francisco, which is open again, and it's a great, great venue to see music, go upstairs to the bar. It's called the Poster Room, and literally they have every Fillmore poster framed. In fact, Google it right now. The Fillmore Room, the Poster Room at the Fillmore. It's just an amazing just to sit around and look at all these things. And they still do posters, not for every show now. We had some of our artists over the last decade or so, some illustrators we worked with, do posters for Willie Nelson and Katie Lang and a few other artists at the time, or use illustration. You know, I'm not going to go through all these, but you get the idea, right? These are gorgeous. Maybe I should do a part 2 sometimes, but you know, just buy these books or check them out at the library again, and you can pretty much see everything. Again, the Fillmore doesn't have the Avalon, but it has all the Fillmore stuff, all the Fillmore posters. Until the closing days of the Fillmore. That are probably in the back here. Up. Fillmore East, the final concert at the Fillmore East. And I guess they're gonna have, do they have it here? They must have it here. The final poster of the Fillmore West. And a replica of this came in the box set, the vinyl box set of the closing of the Fillmore West. So, that's Mazzy's San Francisco. The Jefferson Airplane loves you, and Mazzy loves you. Go to the window. Go to the window.